Good evening, dear friends. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Here we are. Let's do the Daily Mitzvah for day 38, tomorrow, Friday. We are continuing the mitzvah we began yesterday, and we're going to be spending a few days on this mitzvah and on this topic. The mitzvah that there's a positive commandment for every single Jew to rest on Shabbos, us, and anybody that works for us, our families, or anybody that works for us, and even our animals, our livestock, need to rest on Shabbos. Rest does not mean to, sleep in, catch in on some extra snoozes. But what it does mean is that we should not do work. It's a day to rest from activity. But now what's considered work? So the Rambam gives a considerable number of chapters, 30 chapters, dedicated to the topic and the laws of Shabbos, which is quite a lot of chapters on one topic. And the Rambam just starts giving us all the laws, all the variables, so many different areas of laws about Shabbos. So let me share with you on this mitzvah something really special and fascinating that the Rambam teaches us in today as he begins sharing with us the laws of Shabbos. What do you do when there is a clash? What do you do in case of emergency? It's Shabbos. It's a day where there's many activities that is forbidden to do, but there's an emergency. What's the emergency? A life is in danger. There's a medical emergency. Now, a medical emergency doesn't have to mean that somebody is dying right now, but it can mean that somebody is ill or they have an injury, and it's considered a life-threatening injury, and it needs immediate attention. What do you do then? So the Rambam is very strong about this, and he says, don't dare be somebody who hesitates to act in a time of danger to save a life because of Shabbos. That is totally wrong. Rather, what the Torah wants of us to do is to suspend any of the prohibitions of Shabbos, anything which is forbidden to do. Stop that. Shabbos is put on the side to save a Jewish life. If there's a life in need, you stop and you save it. And the Rambam gives, different examples. For example, a woman, once she's in labor, in childbirth, and for the 3 days after childbirth, she is considered somebody who is in a life-threatening situation, and you are allowed to violate Shabbos for her, anything that she needs. And the Rambam goes through also different medical conditions and different types of injuries, and tells you what is automatically considered a life-threatening situation, and when do you have to go ask a doctor. But the Rambam says the moment a doctor tells you, even if he's just a local doctor, he's not the world's greatest professional, but a doctor gives you an opinion that this is something which needs immediate attention, you stop, drop, and roll. Drop Shabbos and deal with this. And the Rambam says, don't send a woman or a child or like a slave to go do the forbidden act because the man says, better they do it than I should do it. No, the Rambam says the greatest Jew, the Torah scholar, the leaders should be the ones to violate the Shabbos, just to show everybody, to set an example that the Torah puts saving a life ahead of everything else. And the Rambam has very harsh words about somebody who hesitates, and he's reluctant to violate the Shabbos. He's scared to violate one of the laws. He's just not used to it, and he allows an emergency situation to just go without being taken care of. And the Rambam applies. The Rambam says something pretty amazing. Listen to this. The Rambam invokes and quotes a verse from the prophet. I believe it's Yecheskel, the prophet Ezekiel. The prophet there says that Hashem is going to punish the people by giving laws that hurt them and laws that they ultimately cannot even hold on to. And what the Rambam says is that when Torah is followed properly, Torah is not a religion that causes pain, and the Rambam uses the word nekama, vengeance. Torah promotes peace and goodness and compassion and morality and justice in the world. The laws of Torah only create goodness within our lives and within society. But the Rambam says, but when we deviate from halacha, when we deviate from what the Torah tells us, and we start playing around with Yiddishkeit, what then happens? Torah becomes a form of a destructive force. When the Torah is done properly, it's a force of goodness and kindness and justice. But when the laws of Torah are tampered with, it becomes difficult laws, and they cause harm, even practical harm, and ultimately they can't be kept. These laws are just not sustainable. It becomes an unsustainable religion, and it's both a curse and it's also a blessing. the commentaries teach on this pasuk, on this verse, that this is a very interesting thing that Hashem put into Torah, that any type of sectarian breakaway from traditional Yiddishkeit ultimately cannot last. It's just unsustainable. As the verse says, the nation, the people can't keep these laws. The laws become impossible to keep. It just doesn't work. And that's a very good thing, because Yiddishkeit has to stay forever. And indeed, Yiddishkeit has been here forever. The Torah is here forever. It's the longest standing religion, and it's not going anywhere. But whenever there was a breakaway, okay, it lasted for 10 years, for 20 years, 100 years, 200 years, but ultimately it fades away. It just can't last. So the Rambam says that halacha is, the Rambam really wants to impress this upon us. Halacha is that when there's a life in danger, you need to step up and act, and don't hesitate. Expediency and alacrity is the virtue here. Don't be worried that you're going to do something and you're going to find out later that it wasn't really a life-threatening situation and you violated the Shabbos. No, says the Rambam. Even if you have a doubt, jump at the opportunity. You are listening to the Torah. You are fulfilling the wish of Hashem when you go and save a life and you violate the Shabbos to save that life. So that's just a fascinating theme in today's Rambam, one of the opening themes in the laws of Shabbos. And dear friends, that is the Daily Mitzvah. I want to wish you all a wonderful Shabbos. We'll see you either tomorrow or right after Shabbos for the next Daily Mitzvah. Have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful Shabbos ahead. We'll see you all soon. Sei gesund.